my pleasure.
From the office of the NSA up to the Senate. And we saw what could happen sometimes when you don't pass the screen. You could go to Senate will not pass you unless the security screens you properly. I'm not talking about anybody.
That we invited all the leading presidential candidates.
It is my pleasure and honor
here, the same hall,
to welcome all of you
and each one of them
to this pivotal gathering, which is indeed a reenaction of what we have done in October 2022.
And the Federation.
Many of you may recall that we invited all the leading presidential candidates of the party. And they came here, the same hall.
Today.
And each one of them told us or gave us his promises, his commitments on what to do for northern states and the Federation at large. Any one of them who will have been
President of Nigeria. And it behoves us not only to pray, but to help him succeed. Because his failure is our failure. His failure is our suffering. I don't like what I hear sometimes. Somebody even approached me. Why are you working for APC and President Ashwaju? I say, I'm not working for him. I'm working for the people of northern states and Nigeria. Like I said, any one of them who will have been elected, who will have done the same thing. Because, like the Director General reiterated, we are not partisan, we are not a political party, and we cannot be a political party. Our major concern is to ensure the production and the elevation of good leadership and good governance in our country. Many a time, we blame government even for some of the issues that involve our doing. Believe me, what we know now, we have virtually become a corrupt nation. Anything you do now, you must pay your way out of it. But then, when it comes, you always want to blame the government alone. The government is a reflection of what the society is. You must understand that. And we already know, those of us who believe, God did not send angels, God sent human beings as prophets. And God will not send angels to lead you if you are the ones who will produce the leadership, and if you are not upright, if you are not good, if anything that is wrong with you will be reflected on what you do and what you produce. Therefore, for us, we know that there are problems, but we also know that they were not created by the current government. Many of the problems were inherited. And it has become so cumulative that many people are so discouraged. We need to understand, we need to appreciate that for our institutions to do what they are supposed to be doing, we must demand good governance. We must demand that they stand upright. But you cannot, like they say, you cannot come to equity without clean hands. You must come to it with a clean hand. Otherwise, you will not have what you are looking for. So today, we are happy that you are all here. The government officials, the citizens are here. They will talk to you. They will tell you. Many of you will remember the promises. I saw a caption. I haven't spoken to my friend whether it was exactly what he said about the lopsidedness of things that have been happening. Particularly in politics, we must be careful with the kind of vocabulary that we use. Rabble-rousing would not help us. Saying slogans for the purpose of it would not help us. Indeed, after elections, governance must be given a chance. Otherwise, if we start campaign from the day of the swearing in to the end, when will the government get the chance to do what it has promised to do? It will not. Therefore, after elections, partisanship reduces. Unless you have something concrete and better than what the government is doing, and even that, we call it constructive criticism, not condemnation. Therefore, I appeal to all of us here to be very decorous in the way we ask questions, in the vocabulary that we use. Please and please, no abusive tone, no condemnation. Ask your questions for the purpose of understanding and learning what is being done every day. Let me thank all those who have contributed to today's success. Apart from the federal government, there are many sister organizations that have been helping us. The Arewa Consultative Forum, they're here. The Northern Elders Forum, they are here. I saw the president of the Nigerian Women Leaders. He's also here, and the organization is here. And also Arewa Research Development Project, as well as Arewa House itself. There are some people who didn't want this occasion to happen. But we know that God is greater than them, and there is no way they could have stopped it from happening. And we are here. Therefore, Sir Ahmadu Bello, why some of them were not involved directly, we are non-partisan. We are not going to be involved in abuses and calls. But because, like I said, we called them. We called all the candidates to tell us what they will do. Now we are only asking. This is now 2 years. What have you done? How can you correct whatever it is? Because you will say, I will do. But when you come, the realities may block some of the things. What is it that you can help us? You have remaining 2 years that you will be able to correct whatever anomaly you are able to observe. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to welcome you, and please, come clean. Do not behave like the fraud that we see. We saw a fraud more than 40 years ago in the Mambila hydroelectric generation. I discovered that even compensation for the land has not been paid, and yet the amount of money that has gone into that. Please, I ask the current government to either kill the matter or come clean and ensure that that hydroelectrical generation does happen. The second one is former President was hoodwinked into going to inaugurate a non-existing port in Baru. There was no port, but they invited the president to go and inaugurate it. That did not happen. Up to today, it's not happening. So please, try as much as possible as government to do it if it is within your budget and to complete it. But it must happen in pari passu with the dredging of the Niger. Otherwise, the port will be useless if River Niger is not drained properly. Once again, I welcome all of you. We will watch, we will listen, we will write, but please let us become about the way we go about this thing. It's going to be 2 days. There are going to be 5 sessions. 2 sessions today, 3 sessions tomorrow. And by your program, you will have seen how we covered all the issues and the text and what have you. And it's not going to be like the normal program, whereby when you come the first day, the second day you find that only very few people are available. The federal government has directed virtually every northern leader or officer, technocrat and politician to be here. And it's a direct directive. And that's why we saw people coming from Port Harcourt, from Lagos, and from every part of the country to come to Kaduna for this purpose. So please, we invite you today, we invite you tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Who deserves another word of applause, please? Your Excellencies, Mr. President, represented here, the Vice President represented, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Chair of the Nigerian Governors Forum, Chairman of the Northern Governors Forum, our chief hosts, and members of the National Executive Council, adopting the execution protocol. This time I invite, ladies and gentlemen, for the keynote address by the guest speaker, a former Director General of the National Institute for Public Policy and Strategic Studies, a one-time President of the United Nations General Assembly, an academic extraordinary. He is Professor Tijani Mohammed Bende, GCOM. May I so invite you, sir, as you so make your own good message. Thank you, please.
Mr. Chairman, let me beg on this occasion to stand on existing protocol. This hall has hundreds of really important Nigerians. I feel honored to have been invited to this important interaction titled Assessing Electoral Promises, Fostering Government-Citizen Engagement for National Unity by this foundation. And I must say that I'm glad that we are holding this interaction in an academic setting, because this is ABU, and therefore we are free to talk as we wish. It's also important that we observe that, sadly, personally, when I see the array of really important, good people in this hall, that Nigeria is still battling the kinds of things it's battling. This should not continue. The convening power really exhibited here, and I can see several kinds of convenings that can draw good people to deal with Nigeria's problems. We should not waste this kind of convening power. That the call has come to address broadly electoral promises, but they are really dealing with governance issues, means we believe in the country. We believe in the country. We must therefore really work harder at organizing ourselves to benefit from the array of expertise available to northern Nigeria and to Nigeria at large. However, my reflections are targeted to bring in to attention global realities and trends as they must affect our country. There is an easy notion seeing that we are the only country in trouble, or that we cannot do this, or that other people have done so. And I think I just want to use what I do know, plus what I have also observed, to bring to bear some of the considerations relating to how Nigeria must be a learning nation. So whatever happens locally can happen or can have implications further afield. Let me just remind you that Boko Haram started locally. It has ravaged the sub-region. And we know, just for example, COVID-19 started locally. It ravaged the world. I'll come back to this issue. We also know today that nobody looks at the United Nations or any world organization positively because of ethical and legal challenges brought about by Gaza and by Ukraine, wherein the foundational principles of the United Nations have been completely forgotten. This is sad because we cannot have a globe without a moral compass. So bad as these events are globally and also bad as events are locally, we must positively engage. Otherwise, we are in deep and deeper trouble. And I say, as the House says, it's only, let's say, Mahokatine Kawai, it's only a fool who will help himself and then come to brag about it. We should really, really take this adage very seriously in this conversation. So let me just do a short review, which is not necessarily in this group, about what northern Nigeria is. First of all, very easily, we are talking of 2/3 of the landmass, 3/4 of the landmass of the country. We are talking about 2/3 of its population. Therefore, a discussion about northern Nigeria is necessarily a discussion about Nigeria. So there is no apology to be given why this is so. So we have a duty as northern Nigerians to look after Nigeria. We have a duty. So, and my approach is to see what kinds of things we should consider in that engagement with the president, of course, in this case, with the officials of government. Now, we know the history of the region, agricultural land. What is it that is not produced in northern Nigeria in abundance? We all know this. What is it in terms of minerals that is not produced or cannot be produced in Nigeria to sustain Nigeria, not only northern Nigeria? These ones are well known, but just a reminder that this is the issue. Now, in northern Nigeria, during colonial and immediate post-colonial period, there was expansion of education and skills as would help the region and the country to live up to its progressive aspirations for development, for peace. We had a very strong civil service which promoted the public interest, which also ensured that disputes, especially communal disputes, were addressed in a timely manner. This is critical. Now, as all of us know, there were periods of turbulence in our country, as indeed in others. We even had a civil war. And even through it all, Nigerian government successive regimes did very well in addressing those challenges. Of course, circumstances or conditions varied, skills also varied, and attainment of objectives also varied over time. For today, as the comments of previous speakers have indicated, northern Nigeria has care, agricultural modernization, service delivery, and this is key, a weakening sense of patriotism or even self-confidence. This is something that I want to come back to because it's at the center of our problem. The widely quoted report of the National Board of Statistics which is doing a great job, is improving really over the last 20 years. Nigeria Social Scientists can take that as an improvement, has shown the issue of multi-dimensional poverty in the country, wherein 103 million are said to be poor, out of which about 80 are in the north. Now, we have also the quoted figure of out-of-school children. The figure was 18 million, out of which 8 are from northern Nigeria. But 2 weeks ago, UNESCO gave the figure at 18.5 million. I will have to check on the veracity of that one. But that's not the issue. Even if we have 10 people not in school, we have a challenge that has to be addressed. Now, we should know that why is this important? Northern Nigeria has boundaries with Chad, with Cameroon, with Nigeria with Nigeria Republic and Benin Republic. And it also has deep cultural ties to many West, Central, and North African countries. Events in each of those countries can and do impact what happens here. Now, I want to say, to give cautionary notes from situations across the globe. We are facing crisis now. We have faced crisis before. We have overcome crisis like the Civil War and even June 12. We have forgotten, and we are still here. Now, we ensured we solved our problems. Now, in the United Nations, there are 193 member states. Each delegation has its peculiar problem, but no delegation makes a habit every day of doubting itself before the world body. Each delegation tries to learn from what others are doing. So we cannot be the country, wherever you are demarcating yourself. Nobody respects you where you are demarcating yourself. You learn from others. You are truthful about your problems, but you cannot constantly be looking how best to demean yourself. This is something that we must learn as we relate to the world. COVID-19 is still being addressed because the destruction brought about by COVID-19 is still with us. So economies have been destroyed. I think from my own recollection, with the exception of a few countries and Nordic countries in particular, hardly has any country come out of COVID fully. Not only supply chain issues, but issues of poverty. Real poverty in countries you cannot imagine, including riots in various cities in the world, occasioned by what has triggered problems socially and economically in those countries. Now, we must learn from countries that have tried to divide themselves, even on the continent. I do not think South Sudan or Sudan are better off now that they have been divided. I have very good reason to say so, but this is not the occasion to deal with this. But I just want to say, neither South Sudan nor Sudan are better off because of their separation. So, creating many states, many countries out of Nigeria will demean each helpless citizenry of those many countries. They will have no relevance globally, and they will have permanent problems. Now, in the United Nations, there is a forum of small states. When you sit, like I have done, to hear their struggles, not only the terrible influence of others over how they do things, but even how much it costs for them to do business in terms of scale, in terms of trade. You also have landlocked countries that are having serious difficulties. There is a forum for landlocked countries. They will tell you, and the data has confirmed it, over 20% cost because of the fact of being landlocked. We should not go that route. Now, I will also say, on a positive note, I come back to this, we must be a learning nation. Today, a lot of people do not know. Look at Iran. From 1979, it has been targeted for destruction. Whatever you say about Iran, Iran planned. It didn't boast that we are the greatest nation in the region. It acted quietly, substantively to protect itself for that time and the future. And today, look at the joint action of Israel and the US, plus support from certain countries globally, and Iran is still standing. I feel sad if it was in Nigeria and you kept money to defend yourself against possible enemies. It will be leaked. And before you know it, they'll say, this is what food. They'll tell you we're hungry, even if there is food right on their table. You know, statecraft is a serious business. You have to have skill. You have to have a capacity to plan short, medium, and long term and stay the course. It's not an issue of one administration after another. Stay the course. Stay the course. And I'm very glad here I've seen a lot of MNIs here. This issue of simply changing the course we want to show you are different has done a lot of damage. It doesn't mean we should not do review. No. But at the National Institute, we have always been clear about policies for the nation or for a state. And therefore, we should be careful about wasteful things just because we want to show we are in charge now. Now, what is to be done? On this account, first of all, what is to be done as Northern Nigeria, as a region? First of all, we must be very clear as to the foundation. There is no Northern Nigeria except Israel of Nigeria. There is no question about that one. You should not joke harmony and justice of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. This is absolutely foundational. Then, within this, we must avoid reinventing the wheel. I mean, trust me for this lecture, I said, okay, I can't say no, obviously. But then I looked around. I have several workstations where I read and reflect in different places in the country. And in just one desk, I found documents dealing with Northern Nigerian issues. And the issue is simply what has happened to those, to whom were they submitted? Who is looking after these ideas generated? This is the key problem we need to address. Let me just mention, I say this is not exhaustive. I'm talking of just on one of my workstations. I will just mention reference has been made by the Chief Servant to the Arewa Research and Development Project, which work is really substantive. We can update it, but it has everything we need to work on. We have the National Security Strategy of the Federal Republic of Nigeria of 2019, which is broader but absolutely fast-rate. We have the commissioned report of Lieutenant General Dambazo, which deals with security issues in the north. We have the Ajahn Katungun Yali Ahmed work into the report submitted concerning peace and reconciliation in northern Nigeria. No, I'll have to finish. I'll have to finish. Atahan Jega has said, no, I came here 8:45. So I can't simply just leave. So Atahan Jega's work alongside the committee concerning livestock development submitted, and already a livestock ministry has been established. Read the report and what it means for northern Nigeria and for the country. And I have submitted something for the foundation in Maiduguri. Again, you look at that. Now, many institutions have done so. So the next big element is reaffirmation of faith in the ability of northern Nigeria to overcome its current and future challenges. We have to say we can do it. Otherwise, we are done. So we must do this in terms of peace, justice, solidarity, unity, and progress of Nigeria, and the importance of Nigeria to the continent. At times, people forget the meaning of being a Nigerian outside. A lot of people will tell you, and I'm seeing Marwa here, you know, every time in the UN, the countries that come around, where do we stand and why? So it is here, you think you are nothing. Now, we have global obligations as members of the AU, as members of the UN, as members of several international and regional bodies. We have made commitments. We can't simply run. We have made commitments. We can't simply run away because we say we have a problem. We can't. We have to stand for ourselves and for the continent. Now, how do we engage, Mr. President, in this case, the officials of government? I think this is the next element, because first of all, nobody will own a facility and you're not taking it, but you're looking at somebody. What have you done? First of all, that is what makes you credible. That is what makes you credible. Now, for the engagement I propose, one, we must anchor our demands on what is feasible and lawful. Don't request what is not possible. Ask what is lawful. So, because no government, except if a continuing government, knows the enormity of the challenges. The continuing government knows the enormity of the challenges. Because when you talk of transparency does not mean every problem you bring it to the out. It's not like that. You self-corrupt is much out. It's not like that. You self-corrupt is much more serious than that. So you come to lead after someone has left. You are never sure what you will find. After someone has left, you are never sure what you will find. You are never really sure. So that's why you have to have the grace and the patience to say, you said you will do this, why are you not doing so? But be convinced. It's not like you simply say, and no, you ask because it's important. So, and you also propose solution. If the other party is saying ABC, but why don't you do this? But why don't you do this? Then there is an understanding. But you do so, then there is an understanding. But you do so very clear. You are neither masters nor supplicants. You are citizens. You are neither masters nor supplicants. You are citizens with rights and duties. Therefore, it is respectful but very firm. Not and duties. Therefore, it is respectful but very firm. No hedging. We are talking of 2/3 of the country in landmass, 2/3 in 3/4 and 2/3, and you can't therefore be simply shrinking. Now, two, policy differences are normal in all governance systems. Reforms are also necessary at times and almost all the time difficult. But without them, you risk loss of everything. Therefore, you have to have patience when somebody or a government says there is a reform. Understand why, understand the theory of change behind it. Why are you saying this? What are the stages? What is the timeline? Then you deal with the timeline issues on the basis of resources available. So it's not simply sit in my village and begin to say this is what should be done. I must engage to see what is there and also propose alternatives. It's absolutely necessary. Three, again, do your own responsibility first. A federal arrangement presupposes some work for different levels, some joint. Therefore, before you begin to again ask, do your own, try to improve, because governance systems must improve at the village level, at the district level, at the state level, and further on. Now, there are controversies in the media, and again, Chief Sawan raised just now concerning insecurity, especially on finance sector. I think this engagement is important. It must be. This engagement is important. It must be done respectfully, because why? Let us be clear. So no administration should be allowed to do state capture. Nigeria is too big to have state capture. You must work for the entirety of the nation. So again, if you have worries about this, please do the engagement and seriously. Now, there must be, and I'm glad this is also, as if you read what I have written, this issue of abusing government or the president. You know, just imagine yourself representing Nigeria, even in Mali or in any place, and the story is, oh, your president has not done secondary school. That, I mean, we lived it. That your president, so constantly you are in negotiation, and the story is that, oh, your president has stolen certificates. Your president has not done secondary school. What does it aid? I mean, you demean yourself as you demean your country. So this abuse of leaders must be, we cut it. So we must set ourselves as as leaders to groups from speech that is not civil. But we must be very insistent, asking questions about relevancy. I mean, when the so-called debate about Buhari, late Buhari, and may God forgive him, or didn't go to secondary school, but he was Major General in the Nigerian Army, and you think your Major General is a primary school dropout? I mean, this kind of thing, it demeans us. We should not go in that route ever again. Again, media. You must really deal with media. There is no other media to speak of. There isn't, because it's a tough one. And people don't want it. They want people who beat their drums. These are not the ones we need. We have to have a proper media, including a means of how we read the social media, because now this is one other completely global problem. So again, this is all encompassing. Now, modernization of agriculture needs to be deepened, and I'm very glad that there is now a Ministry of Livestock Development, and I'm glad the Minister is here. This is really great for northern Nigeria. I have read virtually all the reports that were available to me. I've seen Kuta and others here. And of course, my brother Giga has been giving me what information was appropriate. Now, this has implications for poverty alleviation, communal harmony, and security. We should deepen and support that ministry very seriously. Now, there is danger. Item number 7, in encouraging, even if inadvertently, the importation of food, especially rice and maize. We can produce this here. We should avoid the easy recourse. And we are going back. We have made progress. All of a sudden, everybody is importing. This is something that we have to stop. We have to stop this. Now, we have to have input. We have to have knowledge deepened. ABU is doing great work in agriculture. Many other universities of agriculture have been introduced around the country. Why then are we importing food in a land that has and can produce everything? Now, for each promise made or modified, we need to find a focal institution or person to follow up. Otherwise, it's just the usual talk. There has to be a way within institutions that are already here, established, to follow up on whatever is promised and what needs to be done. Otherwise, we just pile one other report after another. Again, there is controversy concerning distribution of infrastructure. Now, infrastructure is important. Infrastructure is both a signal that we have developed. It's also an enabler for development. Therefore, the National Assembly must be allowed its duty because no senator, and I've seen one senator looking at me here, no senator is simply a senator for his constituency. He is a senator of the Federal Republic. It's just to remind the senators that they act not only for their small settlement, but for the Federal Republic. Therefore, in infrastructure, let there be clear, deliberate understanding of their responsibilities to ensure budgets are budgets that answer to the needs of the Nigerian people wherever they are. Now, these are some of the elements that the federal government in this engagement needs to really give answers to. And if they have difficulties, let us also help them in giving alternatives. Now, I conclude by simply saying that it's very important that midway there is time to self-correct. And that engagement must continue in a respectful manner, guided by facts and experience that is available to an array of people in this room and elsewhere in Nigeria. I am sure that we should do so mindful of global trends and circumstances. Today, tariffs are an issue, a very open weapon against countries. let us be mindful that it can happen to us. And things can change geopolitically. We must be alive to this possibility and protect ourselves, and also protect the continent of Africa. I want to thank the Sir Ahmadu Bello Memorial Foundation for giving me the opportunity to share this thought, and also to say, when you receive the document, it may have a few typos, but the circumstances of it writing, the organizers know. So, but I think you get the point. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Please give the Prof a round of applause. Yes, because for want of time, we are going straight to the goodwill message, and because we have so many groups, we are restricting it to only 2 important personalities to give us the goodwill message. May I please invite Alhaji Bashir Dalhatu, the Chairman Board of Trustees, Arewa Consultative Forum, to please come forward for
Thank you very much. I don't know how many all other groups are, but if you divide 3 minutes between all other groups, that goes into seconds. Your Excellency, the representative of the President, Your Excellency, the representative of the Vice President, Your Excellencies, the Chairman of Nigerian Governors Forum and the Chairman of Northern Nigeria Governors Forum, the host, Governor of Kaduna State, Your Excellency, all other distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Let me say that I wanted to say I bring the message of good tidings from the Arewa Consultative Forum and good wishes to this interactive session. Now I have to bring good wishes, goodwill message from all other groupings that I was introduced to do. It is very, very important to say that we express our gratitude to the Ahmadu Bello Memorial Foundation for organizing this event. I also want to recall that the ACF was part of the meeting on the 17th of October 2022, when all presidential candidates attended this meeting, and we had a very important interactive session. Our promises were done, our requests were forwarded. Let me also say that in this congregation, there are very important government functionaries who have the ears of the president, and I'm sure they are here to sensitize, to find out, to learn, so that they can go and tell the president what they have been able to irrigate the feeling in North area. I want to first of all confess that President was my brother and good friend. He is now my current leader. But that also have the condition to express gratitude and encourage him where he is. This is that the emphasizing and meeting more between the countries in his capacity as the son. He has done extremely well to bring that situation down. Thirdly, we also want to thank you very much for the huge funding given to the state government for them to create beneficial life and situation in northern Nigeria. The creation of the Ministry of Life is also one of the things we must thank you very much for. We also know that the borders that was regulating our people had brought in out of leave. The English for the president, these things should be commended for. Thank you very much. However, my younger brother, my age, This is for me the responsibility of all those things that we need for the President government of Unfortunately, we have faced attention. There are few questions, a lot of questions that we need answers, and a few incidents we need the government officials to take forward to the President. When the India visited the President on 30th of May, we have addressed the President on this topic, forward, adaptation, back of no road at all, oil and gas drilling in Solomani River, the Manila Hydro project, and the president of River Niger and Benue. The President very carefully indicated the demand and the committee is set up so that these issues could continually be reviewed and addressed and found. Very with their presence, asking for that country to is that what? No. Within these 2 days, we are going to have questions about other things, the impression, the general impression about some of the activities of this group. For example, we let go and produce 4 party votes. And we feel it now that meaning you went to war, you succeeded, but when the distribution of the booty happened, you are given a letter as your own contribution to the war. So that can be the officials with that at the other. Therefore, the question of we used to know that before 1999, the federal government was very distribution of military projects, but in 1999, the budgeting system has become too against the region. If our political leaders, especially in the assembly, we are saying you must be from so that this can be the out of school children that are mentioned. My own statistics said there are out of school in Nigeria. 80% of that will be in northern Nigeria. Next, but not the time the out of the creation of tools and equipment. The other half of the civilian road network in Nigeria. I actually had a friend in Nigeria, and believe me, it was that has to be looked at. Who make decisions that we think are favorable, what would be the people, why the real guys, what will be done, why the real employment of direct, only for northern Nigeria. We will to conduct spreading agro industries in northern Nigeria so that our agriculture could be properly accommodated. I think we will be here with you tomorrow, and we will be discussing from the government. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Of course, then we take him as a city, a former minister, and of course, legal ruling extraordinary. What is this? The government of the House Assembly. The different that will work as the governor in terms of peace and safety in Nigeria. The court is the architect of urban welfare for nation. Even the government sector, the CON, the government of the concern, so the government over to them. The reference is there.
by the Permanent Government, Abraham Sadat, the Executive of Quality, the Executive Vice President of the State of Nigeria, Senator Kashi Shetima, CON, ably represented by Dr. Ali Modibo Umar, Special Advisor on Special Duties, the Chairman of the Government Forum, His Excellency Mohammed Executive Governor of Govt, the Secretary of the Federation, Senator George Akume, the National Security Advisor, Malan Hurubadu, Honorable Ministers and other members of the Federal Executive Council present, current former National Assembly, the head of federal agencies, parasites and government officials here present, the service chiefs. I will specially recognize our own, the Chief of the Staff, General Christopher Musa, and other sub here present, the Chairman Board Trustee to the Memorial Foundation, His Excellency Azuba Bengira Ali, GM, the Deputy General, Sir Ahmadu Bello Foundat, the guest speaker, Professor Jai Mohammed Bandi, President of the United Nations General Assembly, Royal Palace President, members of the Council, President Religious, present here, invited members of press, ladies and gentlemen. It is with profound sense of obligation and genuine unity that I come before this distinguished assembly to commend on the Sir Ahmadu Bello Foundation. It is not a mere malady. It is an invitation to profession to earnest evaluation to the present board forward-looking. The conference assessing electoral seats, fostering government-citizen engagement for national unity is directly the heart of democratic government. On the significance of honoring commitment and commitment between the and the citizens. Let us declare, electoral pledges are not contradictory to be conveniently voting. They are solemn covenants, a question of hope and obligation. To assess those pledges, not an act of cynicism. It is a mission of transparency and clarity. The proper interaction between government and government is not recorded mere noise, but protect the better of unity, one rather in shared progress, mutual respect and trust. 2 years ago, the foundation brought before you leading presidential candidates. Among them, His Excellency Arewa Bola Tinubu, he argued not with empty praise, but with vision about rural, innovation, and rapid development, especially for Northern Nigeria. He made a commitment. Today, of election, the question of has President Tinubu honored the pledges he made? As having a proud son of the North, far this response not on point of political citizenship, but as one in the journey of original transformation. Yet, he has been office president and commander-in-chief. President Bola Tinubu has doggedly kept to the North. Yet, none of the practitioners succeed in the government must evolve from the performance of people to the collective understanding. It must be dialogue between citizens and leaders. Become traditions and temporary innovation. Be constructive criticism and communication. These gatherings like this are not only symbolic, they are vital. The Ahmadu Revolution remind us of our duty not only to remain a legacy, but a renewed spirit, not only on Iceland, but to come and resolve it. The Kaduna way to Ngwari, from Tinubu, Giwa, Katia, and across one equal of some parts of their state. Here we continue. Kaduna long celebrated with the cultural reality of being with them.
Entire communities were very close. Very soon, we attempted to organize these conference under those conditions. In May 2023, the hall would have been empty, was rendered inaccessible by persistent. But we could not stand like that. We recognize instinctively the force of year limiters. So we embraced the concept model, the Kaduna peace model, a paradigm blend of proactive security, community engagement, dialogue, and institutional alignment. By God's grace, with the unwavering support of President Bola, our fortunes began to change. We prioritized peace, reinvigorated our security agencies group, and engaged communities with empathy, respect, and humility. Criminal enclaves along Kaduna-Abuja highway were dismantled. Markets in Beningari were opened after more than a decade. And ghost towns in Chikun, Igabi, Giwa, Kachia, Zambo Kataf regained life. In the south of our state, through dialogue and reconciliation, we actively laid the ground for a lasting peace. The federal government under President Bola leadership supported us and stood by us. I commend the National Security Advisor, Malalu Badu, whose coordination and resolve have ensured that our security responses are both intelligent and sustained. I salute the Honorable Minister of Defense, the Honorable Minister of State for Defense, the Chief of Defense Staff, our service chiefs, and all security leaders whose courage and vigilance continue to protect our people. Their gallantry fills us with pride. Yet, we must acknowledge that insecurity is not only a failure of arms. It is born of exclusion, of educational deprivation, and of policy neglect. Long before I became governor, I emphasized that poverty is a potent instigator of instability. By the time we took office in May 2023, over 65% of our population in the Northwest in particular were financially excluded, denied access to credit, savings, and hope. In that void, extremism, criminality found fertile ground. As former chairman of the Senate Committee on Banking and Financial Institutions, I foresaw that deepening financial inclusion will be critical. I championed the Welfare Act of 2020, bringing fintech under formal regulation and laying the foundation for a digital economy. As a governor, I issue an executive order to formally integrate 2.5 million of our most vulnerable citizens into the financial system. We collaborated with banks, fintechs, civil society, and global partners to preserve and expand that momentum. Financial inclusion is more than numbers. It is about dignity. It is about ensuring that a farmer in Giwa, a market woman in Kachia, and a youth in Zaria has a stake in our economy and our collective future. Indeed, at this point, I dare reiterate the fact that most of us here already know too well. Our challenges in the North today are deeply rooted issues that began decades ago. The region has suffered from years of neglect, policy inconsistency, and weak governance structure. Blaming His Excellency President Bola Tinubu, who has barely been in office just 2 years ago, for the problem that had been festering for over 20 years or more, ignores the complex history and systematic failures that span multiple governments and political actors in northern Nigeria. Well, the Tinubu administration is unjust and politically misleading to hold the administration solely accountable for the crisis that predates the tenure of the current president. I want to also at this point just, I was happy when the chairman of the ACF also made his own remarks, and I'm happy to draw our attention, all of us here, that most of us who are the leaders in northern Nigeria, I think we should be open enough to take the blame, because there was silence. Where was our voices? Nobody was speaking in the last 10 years. Nobody was speaking in the last 15 years. Nobody was talking in the last 20 years. And we were sitting watching the developmental indices in northern Nigeria, both the northwest, the northeast, and the north central, have deteriorated completely in the last 20 years today. We're talking about out of school children, yes, 18.5 million when you talk about the UNICEF index right now. But more than 90% as of today. The 80% was about 3 years ago, 4 years ago. But if we don't take very serious action, we might not have a region called the Northern Nigeria. So we have to be careful. And we should stop blaming President Bola Tinubu. We should look at ourselves in the mirror and sit down. I'm happy. What is happening today is unprecedented. This is the first time in the history of Nigeria. Officials from the federal government are sitting together in one hall to look at the problem of Northern Nigeria. And I think this is the beginning, and I can see hope. We need to continue with this and be focused and also be unwavering in doing this thing. President Tinubu's administration introduced a comprehensive student loan scheme, alleviating education costs and allowing students from modest backgrounds to pursue higher education. He is investing in infrastructure upgrades at federal institutions and enrolling thousands in vocational and digital training programs targeted at preparing youth for opportunities in technology and innovation. In basic education, we are expanding classroom capacity, recruiting and training teachers, renewing curricula to improve learning outcomes for underserved communities. We are reimagining education not simply as literacy, but as empowerment. President Tinubu's 3 million technical talent initiative trains youth in digital and technical skills. Well, our own agricultural colleges and technical institutes
connect learning with livelihood. We are not only preparing future employees, we are cultivating job creators. President Bola Tinubu's efforts in healthcare are equally transformative. I'm also happy that the chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum is here, the chairman